proud of these students here in the Wind Symphony. We started school a week later, and for high school students and directors, just to put things in perspective for you, we practice twice a week, and we've had 7 rehearsals. So they put this together. That shows the type of musician and the type of students and dedication that they have. Many of them are involved in a lot of things. Also, I told the students today at our recital, the ensembles concert, that there are a lot of non-music majors up here too. So in college, whether it's at Marshall or wherever they go, we certainly encourage all these musicians, encourage them to stick with it and to participate in college. We're very fortunate this weekend to have, I told somebody the other day, the story's sort of getting old because I'm telling everybody, but it's the truth. Somebody asked me, he said, what's the big deal about having Robert W. Smith here for an honor band? And I said, you like basketball? And they said, sure, I love basketball, particularly pros. I said, we have LeBron James coming to campus.
Yeah.
And that's right. I mean, I remember in the early 1990s doing some pieces of his that were absolute groundbreaking pieces that are still current today. He's got over 600 publications, and he's just into so many things. He does movies, he does recordings, he teaches at Troy University. But we're just so fortunate because here, he's primarily, with all those things, he is basically, he and I talk, we're the same age. We're just basic redneck band directors. And that's exactly what he is. I don't mean redneck in a negative term. He even likes Duck Dynasty. But he is a music educator first, and if you could have heard the talk that he gave to the directors, you'd be cheering for music education and all the things that we need and we don't have and all that. He's a big advocate. But he said, don't introduce me, just let's get on with the piece. But anyway, I had to tell you all those things. Join me in welcoming to the stage, Robert W. Smith.
Before we play this next tune, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it. This tune has got a little bit of an interesting background. The title is Brazil, Ceremony, Song, and Samba. And actually, about 15 years ago, I wrote a piece that's become a bit of a standard in the damn world called Africa, Ceremony, Song, and Ritual. And that had to do with music that came from Africa, particularly Western Africa, and those incredible grooves and all those amazing melodic content, the indigenous percussion instruments that years and years and years ago got put on ships against their will, came to this particular country, landed in the port of New Orleans. All of a sudden, that incredible rich culture began to mix with the European culture that was already here, and the result was America's only gift to the world as an art form. It started out as what we call jazz, and has now become American popular music. As I told the band yesterday, it started out, okay, with these incredible grooves and whatnot. There was maybe a little guy, a little pianist by the name of Joplin, Scott Joplin, who thought, boy, look at what I can do with this. And there would be no Jay-Z without Joplin. It's all connected. Now, that's the roots of this. However, what a lot of people do not know and understand is that just as many of those ships went down to South America, they went down particularly to Brazil. So like there's an African-American culture that is our music, okay? Our music, the roots of our music. There's also an Afro-Brazilian culture. And the two of them are so closely related because of these common roots. And so this piece kind of honors that. So this is the second in 4 pieces that I'm going to compose on this particular subject. And so this is Brazil, Ceremony, Song, and Samba. Now obviously Brazilian, okay? The ceremony. The first ceremony is a maracatu is what it's called. It's a groove. Every groove here I did not write. These are absolutely authentic. I wrote the stuff over the top, but I did not write the grooves, okay? Those are written by other people, okay, particularly from that Afro-Brazilian culture. All right, the first maracatu, that actually is a ceremony. And on those ships coming over, there were these investiture ceremonies where a king, in this case the king of the Congo, the kings of the Congo. And so whenever they invest a king, as king of that particular tribe, they used this particular group. So it is truly a ceremony. The song in the center will be very easy to recognize the style. From those roots came a worldwide pop music explosion in the 1960s. We know it as bossa nova. Bossa nova. There was maybe the most famous of those artists. They would say Jobim. In America, we'd say Jobim. And maybe you may know his most famous tune was a thing called The Girl from Ipanema. All right? And if you listen to that, really incredible grooves underneath that all again have those very same roots. And then finally, the samba. This is the time of year. This is the reason I chose this for this concert. It is Carnival in Rio. And there are these huge samba schools. What is a samba school? It's 100+ percussionists playing these amazing instruments. Surdos, repeniques, all these really amazing percussion instruments that are not just instruments you hear, they're instruments you feel when they play. And then there's all the dancers that join them, and they go down the street. Particularly this time in Rio, they go to this thing called the Samba Dome, okay? And it's basically a stadium with a parade to go through it. Hundreds of thousands of people, and they can feel the energy of the carnival. So we hope you enjoy this. We hope you also find the connections back to what we call American popular music and those very, very important roots. This is Brazil, ceremony, song, and samba.